Well, hey, what's going on? Uh, it's me. I wish I could tell you why I'm laughing, but I already told you. You know, when I when I come on and I'm laughing off the bat, it's because something funny just happened that I didn't have no control over, and it catches me off guard every time. Something weird catches me off guard every time. So that's why, you know, sometimes I'll be sitting here laughing to myself. Uh, Also, I have to tell you again, I'm going to say this again, and that is um, I got so used to this echo. Hey, what's up, James, man? How you doing? Uh, what's going on, Charles? I got so used to this echo in my ears, and now it's not there anymore. You know, I figured out how to get it out of my ears while I'm talking, and that throws me off now that the echo's gone. So, so you know, just saying, just saying. Well, I'll be darned. Well, hey, Ronnie, how are you? Nice to see you. Glad you could make it. Glad you could make it. Well, we are in a government shutdown, but let me digress before I even get into that. Uh-oh, what just happened? Something just happened, and I am seeing something telling me that I'm not putting out any data. Huh. There's nothing here. Oh, okay. I don't know. Something just flashed on the screen that I'm not putting out any data, and I didn't see anything drop. See, that's the thing about YouTube. You will get a message, just so you know. You'll get a message, and it's like a false message. You know, it's something in the electronics. You know, and it'll distract you. You know, if you're the one handling the controls, it will distract you. You know. And the reason you don't see a lot of people on YouTube going through this is because they got somebody on the side dealing with the controls that's dealing with the distractions. I don't, of course. So, yeah, thank you. For, like I said, that's some glitch that somehow has come through YouTube sometimes. So it is what it is. But first, I want to address something. That we've heard a lot of. And we've heard a lot of the Republicans, especially that main one, putting out that most of the political violence is coming from the left, and they got to start a war on the left. And you'll hear all of these clips that I play that's screaming the violence from the left. Okay? I'm going to play this clip to address that issue. And I'm going to play it right now because I want to make sure it gets played, and I want to make sure everybody understands where the political violence comes from. Okay? So let's check this clip out before we get into discussing the shutdown. Because, you know, we're going to spend the evening talking about that, of course. But I want to get this out. Check this out.
America, the propaganda machine over at Fox will tell you that Antifa is the danger to this nation, but the facts prove otherwise. Violence from any side of the political spectrum is completely unacceptable, but since 1990, about 94% of all politically motivated violence convictions have come from the right. And nearly 87% of all political murders in that same time frame also from the right. The numbers don't lie. These are easily verifiable facts, and the pyramids speak for themselves. But the Fox propaganda does lie. Night after night after night. They take a handful of incidents from the left and loop them in endlessly to build an illusion that America is under attack from radicals. Meanwhile, they bury the overwhelming reality that the violence has been coming from the right wing for decades. This isn't just spin. It's propaganda. And if you're listening to this propaganda all day long, it's warped your reality. As a citizen, you have a responsibility to see through it. And honestly, I just want to know why you keep watching it when I'm showing you day after day it's full of lies. The truth is simple. Political violence in America has overwhelmingly been a right-wing problem for decades, and pretending otherwise confuses the public and leads to more violence. If you're with me, America, put in the comments that Fox lies. Let's be clear. Cups talk and propaganda walks. I hope you learned something. I'm always rooting for you.
Right. Just so we get that clear. Just so we get that clear where the violence is actually coming from. You know, every day they're out there yelling and screaming about the violent left when for years, and I mean years, all you see is, well, white on white crime. That's all you see. That is all you see. White on white crime. You see the violence coming from the right. It's always a pickup truck with a red, white, and blue flag and some angry guy in a red hat. You know. And before it was the red hats, it was the sheets. Okay. So, and then the SWAT stickers. You had the red hats, the SWAT stickers, the sheets. So it was same shit, different gear. So long as we all know and understand that, that's the way it's always been. Plainly. And one other thing I want to get out there. All right. Nah. I don't have any friends like this, but if I had a friend like this, I'd leave her ass alone. I gotta show this because it caught my eye and it just tickled the dog shit out of me. Check this out.
Take it off right here. Yeah, what are you doing? What is that? It's like, maybe. It's probably my hair because I'm going like this. Okay, maybe. Come on, help me fix the desk. Alright, you gotta get the nail in the back that made it more like, it's over here. So take it off right here. Yeah, what are you doing? What is that? It's like, maybe. It's probably my hair because I'm going like this. Okay, maybe. Come on, help me fix the desk. Alright, you gotta get the nail in the back that made it more like, it's over here.
I couldn't help it. She got him good. I just couldn't help it. That tickled me to death when I saw that today. I was like, oh, I gotta share that with my peeps. But she got him good. Golly, that was just something. Oh my goodness. Ah man, if I had a friend that pulled some shit like that on me, I'd leave her ass alone forever. Boy, I gotta tell you. But anyway, that is funny. That is absolutely just tickles me raw. Oh my goodness. Oh, boy. I thought that was just too funny. She got him good. You got to admit, she got him good. It was good. Another thing I want to discuss before we get into the shutdown, because the shutdown is the main thing this evening. The shutdown, and I should have set this up different. Doggone it. I should have set up a side by side so I could discuss it while it's playing. But for those of you who saw this speech over the weekend with all of the military commanders, the military elite. If you saw that speech, and I'm not talking about Trump's part of it, I'm talking about Pete Hegseth's part. There was the whole speech. The whole speech was a slap in the face to those commanders because, first of all, that speech, you could have sent that speech out on a video conference. They didn't need to come from all over the world. These people were based all over the world, and they had to come here to hear that speech. Now, and the speech from beginning to end was an insult to everybody sitting in the room, which is why the room didn't see it and didn't want to. I get it. I get it. But again, I had to tell you, I had to watch this stuff so I can relay anything that is of importance to you. And it was painful to watch because it was ridiculous from beginning to end. First of all, the first thing you have to get past when you're watching this speech, there were career admirals, generals, commanders, colonels, captains. These are career people. Master chiefs, sergeant majors, these are career people. Okay? And the first slap in the face was the fact that they had to sit there and listen to this speech from a drunk-ass Fox News weekend host that ain't never led shit more than a platoon. Okay? This drunk-ass platoon leader that ain't never did shit in his life hosted a half-ass weekend TV show on Fox. And this man is in charge of career admirals, generals, captains, majors, commanders, sergeant majors, master chiefs. It had to be an insult to just be in the room with him. And then he goes on and puts on this warrior ethos speech where he, just from beginning to end, berates everybody that doesn't look like a white guy. That's basically what he did. He came out and said, first of all, that they have analyzed all of them, so they pretty much got an idea who they working with. Okay, that's the dog whistle. That's the quiet part. Isn't that stupid? Just, yeah. No experience at all. Absolutely. No experience at all, and in charge of the entire military. In charge of the entire Pentagon. No experience necessary. Now, check this out. He went on to berate programs like DEI. And he is the biggest DEI hire you have ever seen in your life. He went on to talk about qualified people in combat positions when he has absolutely no qualifications to be in the position he's in. Handed the job by another idiot. If that's the definition of DEI. Well, not the definition of DEI. Actually, no. 20% manpower cut. Yeah. And welcome. I'm not familiar with Iran, but welcome. There's going to be a 20% cut, or depending on what they deem they can afford. And that cut, as we know, is going to be A, women, B, blacks, C, nonconformists, because this is what this was. This was this meeting, and I'd be willing to bet he met with a great deal of them to test them to find out what their views were. Fox News golden boy. Absolutely. A Fox News golden boy. And he was given the job. Now, I said that's the definition of DEI, but it's not the definition of DEI. It is their definition of DEI. DEI means something completely different. DEI is simply inclusion. That's all. Inclusion of everybody. Everybody that's qualified gets included. That's what DEI is. But their version, their definition of inclusion means you was just handed the job and you're not qualified to do it. And that is him. Absolutely. But could you imagine? Could you imagine you've been in the service for 30 years and you're an admiral? You've been in the service 25 years. Back to World War II rule book. Yeah. That's it. That's absolutely it. But imagine being in the service 25 years, and your desire is to make it to possibly one day becoming the head of the Department of Defense. Now, you've been working your ass off your whole life. And here this jackass is handed the job. A qualified man is fired out of the job, and this jackass is handed the job. And now he's in charge of you. And then he goes on to make a speech where he literally announces that they're going back in time. We're going back in time. And he makes a point that everybody has to be up to a higher standard of man. Higher standard of a man. Whatever that is to him. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is, a higher standard of man. I would love to be able to ask him that question. But I digress. I want to play just a small clip of it. I'm going to play a small clip. And Ron, you're absolutely right. Appointment. You can just appoint, they could have appointed, a garden gnome to the job. If that's the case, he would have more experience than this guy. But I'm going to play this clip. Let me play this clip right here of Pete Hegseth and him explaining some things. Check it out.
For the past 8 months, we've gotten a good look under the hood of our officer corps. We've done our best to thoroughly assess the human terrain. We've had to make trade-offs and some difficult decisions. It's more of an art than a science. We have been and will continue to be judicious, but also expeditious. The new compass heading is clear. Out with the Shirellis, the Mackenzies, and the Millies, and in with the Stockdales, the Schwarzkopfs, and the Pattons. More leadership changes will be made, of that I'm certain. Not because we want to, but because we must. Once again, this is life and death. The sooner we have the right people, the sooner we can advance the right policies. Personnel is policy. But I look out at this group, and I see great Americans. Leaders who have given decades to our great republic, at great sacrifice to yourselves and to your families. But if the words I'm speaking today are making your heart sink, then you should do the honorable thing and resign. We would thank you for your service. But I suspect, I know, the overwhelming majority of you feel the opposite. These words make your hearts full. You love the War Department because you love what you do, the profession of arms. You are hereby liberated to be an apolitical, hard-charging, no-nonsense, constitutional leader that you joined the military to be.
Now, if you caught that last part is the majority of you love what you're hearing. You love destroying shit and killing. It's what he's saying. Now, there is some truth to that. And that is, if you're a career military person, you want to defend this country. But most of them people are not agreeing with the majority of the stuff that he was talking about. And the first part he was talking about, we'd already checked under the hood and we know where we are with the people that's here. Right. Or leave. Right. You got it, Ron. Absolutely. That's it. They intend this whole thing. This whole thing was a culling of the herd. This is the beginning of a culling of a herd. And what that means, for those that don't know, is weeding out. Okay? This is the beginning of the weeding out process for those that are not going to conform and pledge allegiance to one guy as opposed to our Constitution. They intend to have nobody left to disagree. They intend to have nobody left that's going to put up a fight, that's going to fight for America and not for one guy. That's what this whole meeting was. See, he wanted to put eyes on the people. See, they've went over the paperwork. They've went through the files to see who they got, where they from, where they were born, where they were raised, all of that. They didn't went through all of that. Now they wanted to go eye to eye. Who is this he's talking about? Who's this we? Same thing was done in Nazi Germany. Yeah. Trust me. You could have took this speech right out of a 1930s. Matter of fact, Goebbels. Yusuf Goebbels. You could have took it right out of one of his speeches. I mean, this is propaganda 101. This is who's loyal to us and who's not. You can get up and get out of the room right now. That's what this is. That's absolutely what this is. And unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of high up people in the service that are going to be in between a rock and a hard place. They're going to be between one rock and a hard place. oh yeah, Hitler killed generals like a like it wasn't shit. Yeah, he rounded up all the ones that, first of all, Hitler rounded up all the ones that were already identified as not, on our team, and took them out first. Okay? So, and what you are seeing is the 2025 version of that. You're seeing the 2025 version of thinning out the military commanders to find out who's on board. Who do we have to get rid of? I hope and I pray that the camaraderie amongst the ranks of commanders in the service, I hope the dedication of the commanders in the service, I hope that can cut through this political thing that has taken over the right wing. I hope that can cut through. I hope those that are in there that do not conform to this, I hope that they are smart enough that you will have to do something like play along for a while. This is one of those times where, like back in Nazi Germany, if you were not on that team, you better act like you're on that team. Just long enough to find out who else is on your team. See, remember, I used to have conversations, we used to talk, and I'd say, I wonder, is this military going to split down the middle? This is that moment. They have literally introduced that moment where it is possible for the military to literally split down the middle. And those that are not conformists need to be careful and calculated. And I hope that they are. I hope that they're careful and calculated. And because we need people inside, we need people in the military that know right from wrong, that know that when you go in the military, you do not pledge allegiance to a guy. You pledge allegiance to our Constitution. That's what I pledged when I went in the service. It is our Constitution. So, I only wish, and I really do, I think I do. I gotta find out if this friend of mine still has someone in those ranks, because E6 and captains. Yeah, as a matter of fact, hey Ryan, you're absolutely right, because he literally mentioned them. He mentioned I think he said E6s. I think he literally said the E6s because it caught my attention. Because I immediately I says, oh yeah, he's talking to the sergeant majors, the master chiefs. Those are the people that are in control of the military. Those are the people that actually run the military. So, absolutely. And I hope that there's enough of them that get it, that understand. 23-year military here. Hey, congratulations and thank you for your service. I only did 6 years. But hey, we both served, and I'll be 60, I got to find out how old I am, 63, 64 in about a month, less than a month. So, man, I'm getting Alzheimer's. And you as well, my friend, and you as well. And I hope that our military take their oath serious and do not fall prey to this foolishness, to this craziness. I hope that they don't fall prey to it. Because if this really takes hold, we go back to this thing that we talked about before, this brother against brother, where like during the Civil War, you had people from the exact same house who sat across the table from each other, who lived in the same house and went to war against each other. And this is the path that speech, this is the path that speech is taking us down. That meeting this weekend is taking us down that path. And I'm hoping that calmer, cooler, and smarter heads prevail. I hope that, and you noticed, again, he said, the majority of you, the majority of you like what I'm saying, is what he said. The majority of you love all of this war shit. Yeah, well, the majority of them know they got a job to do, and they take their job serious. That's what the majority do. So let's hope that that's the direction that the overall group take. I hope they take the direction to keep their oath to the Constitution. Yeah, they've already done some pretty detrimental cuts. Yes, they have. We've seen that, and that again. That's part of what I wish the rest of them see. I wish the rest of them will take this and see it as, look at the people that they have eliminated already just because. Okay? Look, when they come to you, when you're the first guy, I hope every guy they go to, and unfortunately, it's not going to be this way, but I hope when they interview, because, they go and talk to these guys and they interview them. They interview them to talk about, to find out if this guy is on our team. Is this guy going to play ball? They interview him. They go and ask all sorts of questions, shake hands, rub elbows. That's what this was about. I hope those people saw what these people have done. Your phone could go. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I hope the brass can see the cuts that they already made to the soldiers that were already cut, and understand you need to nip this in the bud off the bat. When you get your interview, fail your interview. Every interview should be failed. every one of the brass, it would be a perfect world for me if every one of the brass, when they got their interview, they failed it. Sorry, I took an oath to the Constitution. That's the line. I took an oath to the Constitution, not to a guy. That's hope. That's what I hope happens. That's what I hope happens. All right. So anyway, moving on a bit. The other thing I want to take a point and make a point about before this is over is this government shutdown, which couldn't have come at a better time. It couldn't have come at a better time. For those that think that Trump and the Republicans didn't want this shutdown, think again. They wanted this shutdown, if for no other reason. If for no other reason is we'll stop talking about the Epstein files. If nothing else, this shutdown is going to get us off the Epstein files. And they want to lay people off. They love to get rid of people. Absolutely. Absolutely. If they fail, they have no way to stay undercover for the good of our country. You know, the point I was making with that, Ronnie, is, and you know, you're right. If not enough of them fail, if enough of them fail, if all of them fail, they don't need to be undercover. You see my point? That was the point of failing the interview. If you have talked to your colleagues and they have talked, understand something. Those men in that room, they've talked. Okay? They've talked amongst themselves. And they know who each other are and what each other stand for. See, those men know exactly who each other is in that room. And they've either decided we're all going to go up there and fail, or half of them has decided they're going to go up there and fail, or if it's less than half, they've probably decided, hey, let's go along with it and see what we can do from the inside. You know, this is what we're dealing with. You got to be smart. When I said I hope they fail, I mean I hope they fail in the numbers too big to be dealt with. If they all fail the interview, hey, then we're in good shape. But if half of them go, yes, sir, then, you know, the others will have to just go ahead and act like you're going with the program. Look at it realistic, and they would need 100% buy-in. Well, they wouldn't need 100% buy-in. 80% buy-in would do, you know. But you make a good point. I get it myself. Yes, if 20% don't agree with it, let's say 80% that's in the room agree with Pete Hegseth and 20% don't, I wouldn't want them to go and fail the interview. I'd want them to go and play along. That's what I would want them to do, you know. That's what I would want them to do. Just so we on the same page. We're on the same page. the reason I said failed the interview is because I'm hopeful that within that room, enough of them have talked to each other and have decided they're not going along with the program. That's my hope. That's where I am, you know. And would I be naive to think that? Maybe so. You know, I could be naive enough to think that. Silly me. And if it is not a large portion of them, I hope they're smart enough to just play along and see what we can do. 20% of grab retirement. And that's probably true too. That's probably true. 20%, I could see that. And I couldn't blame him. I couldn't blame him because the pressure's going to be on. If the numbers is large enough, if the numbers are large enough to comply, the pressure's going to be on. So, because remember, everybody in that room, you know, they know who's who. So, you know, I couldn't blame 20% for leaving because they know the pressure's going to be on. In that room of 800 people, they know who's who. So, we have to wait and see on that one. We have to wait and see. Okay, back to the shutdown. This shutdown is not going to have any effect if it goes under a month. Okay, for everybody wondering about the shutdown, if you're wondering about it at all, if it doesn't last a month, it's not going to affect anything. Okay? If it goes longer than a month, there's going to be some growling and some anger and some disruptions because there's the federal workers are not getting paid. And for those of you who asked me, what about my Social Security? What about my pension? Whatever. Let me say this again. Anybody on Social Security, VA, disability, a pension with the federal government, your money is okay. Your money falls under what's called I forget the word they use, but it falls under what is that? Mandatory. That falls under mandatory spending. Social Security has its own fund. Social Security is not approved and does not expire. Okay? The programs that are not being funded with this shutdown, so everybody knows, the funding for the programs that are being shut down now falls under discretionary funds. These are funds that has to be approved by Congress and has expiration dates. Okay? Discretionary funds fund a lot of the government agencies. So, TSA is a government agency that is funded under discretionary funds. The funds to fund TSA expire and are approved by Congress routinely. There's about 12 different bills that have to be approved for every fiscal year. Every fiscal year, the budget for the government is made up of about 12 different separate bills. And for years, the Republicans literally just fight on everything. They just hate, they just wreak havoc on the process. They've decided that's what they're going to do. So they never get together to fund the 12 different bills as a package, which is why we keep getting a continuing resolution to leave the money as it is and scoot it out X amount of weeks. You'll hear them talk about, we needed more time to negotiate. We could have had a continuing resolution until November such and such. Well, all that does is delay this same shit we doing today until November. And that's what they like to do. Let's just kick this can down the road again, because we refuse to get together and negotiate the 12 individual bills that make up the budget that funds all of the agencies of the government, because we don't want to negotiate. That's how we get here. So the mandatory spending is all of the stuff that is all the outside of that realm. Social Security, mandatory spending. VA disability, mandatory spending. Pensions, mandatory spending. These are things that don't expire and don't need Congress to approve over and over. Okay, just so we understand that. So right now, them ICE guys that's running around tackling people in the hallways of the courthouse after their hearing, them guys running up and down the street, they're not getting paid as of right now. Those National Guard guys that's marching into cities not getting paid. A lot of people are going to get furloughed. Typically, they got furloughed, but they're saying we're going to fire them. Check this out. I'm going to play this clip. Play another clip. And listen to Donald Trump and tell me exactly, doesn't he want to do this? Doesn't he absolutely want to do this? Listen to his words.
Do things during the shutdown that are irreversible, that are bad for them and irreversible by them, like cutting vast numbers of people out, cutting things that they like, cutting programs that they like. They're taking a risk by having a shutdown because of the shutdown, we can do things medically and other ways, including benefits. We can cut large numbers of people out. We don't want to do that, but we don't want fraud, waste, and abuse. But they want to have illegal aliens come into our country and get massive health care at the cost to everybody else, and we don't have it. And that's I would say, the number one reason that they want to strike is to get illegal immigrants health care.
I'm wondering, how many people actually believe that? I'm afraid a lot do.
I think if you're told by the president and other networks.
It's a lie, and other networks will either repeat that lie,
or just let it,
and all their hosts will repeat that lie, and podcasters will repeat that lie all day, and Republicans will repeat that lie all day. When, as Willie said, it is illegal for illegal immigrants to get Medicare, to get Medicaid, to get Cadillac, as the president said, Cadillac health care coverage. It's just not true. It is completely false. An unambiguous lie going into this government shutdown. They're lying to their own supporters. They're lying to their own constituents. They're lying to their own followers, saying Democrats want to shut down the government because they want to give great health care benefits to illegal immigrants. It's a total lie. So I'm wondering, where in the Bible does Mike Johnson read Jesus saying, you know what, tell the truth except, well, when it might serve you well politically, and then just lie. And why don't you, while you're lying, why don't you spread lies about those who are on the outskirts of society, those who are suffering right now the most? Why don't you lie about the weakest among us, Mikey? I mean, but that's what he's doing. He's spreading the lie. The president's spreading the lie. All the Republicans are lying through their teeth. And any podcaster today that spreads this lie, anybody on other news networks that spreads this lie, knows exactly what they're doing. There is no Democratic plan to give health care, Cadillac benefits to illegal immigrants. It's not even legal.
So, by just listening to the words, he said, by having a shutdown, we can do this, we can do that, we can cut this, we can cut these programs, we can even cut benefits, we can. If that doesn't tell you that he's loving the idea. We can do this, we can do that, we can do this. It's clear. He wants to cut these people. He wants to do this. And it is my contention, and I could be wrong. You all have heard the things that I've said before. It's my contention. Now, he also came out and he started talking about, there's another clip out there where he talks about cutting a bunch of stuff in that the Democrats like. That's what they do. They lie. Try to convince everybody else. That is not a lie. Yeah. But as of today, he's canceled projects in about 8 or 10 Democratic states. He's literally cut the funding, put the funding on hold for projects in about 10 Democratic states. This is his plan. He intends to do stuff only to Democrats. Well, here's the killer about that. There are Republicans in those states too. So you hurting the people that voted for you too. In the state of Illinois, it's not all Democrats. And trust me when I tell you, these big projects that you cutting the funding to, I guarantee you there are tons of Republicans working on those projects. Because they're usually out in the sticks, in the rural areas. See, those big projects, they don't usually be in the city of Chicago. Okay? They're out there where the Republicans live. So they started cutting fundings, and that's what he's talking about. The other thing is he's talking about firing people, firing federal workers. And one of the other ways he's doing that is through the voter registrations. The governors of the Republican states have literally sent this man voter registration information. So if you work in the federal government, he has your voter registration information. Here in Indiana, we already know they've sent him the information. So if you work in the federal government, he knows your voter information. So they intend to try and target Democrats to fire. Okay? They intend to do all sorts of nasty stuff. But understand, it ain't going to run good if you try that. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. You ain't going to be able to pull that off. So, but it's always been my contention. Go ahead and start firing people. Go ahead. Shut down agency after agency. Go ahead. Go ahead and do all of the mean and nasty stuff you intend to do. Because it's going to hit your supporters. It is going to hit your supporters, and it's going to hit them real fast. And this is the way this administration gets destroyed. Let them destroy their own supporters. Let him destroy his own supporters. Like the farmers right now that I'm going to get into Friday, because I got another one. Oh my goodness. I love to play the farmers because it just shows you what's happening to them because of this man. He's killing his own supporters. And that's going to be this administration's downfall. They're killing their own supporters because he doesn't feel like he needs them anymore. See? Remember that vote for me this time, you don't have to worry about it anymore? He doesn't think he needs them anymore. And he doesn't mind killing them. That's what he's doing. And again, this shutdown, it has to go longer than a month for it to mean anything. I give credit to Chuck Schumer and Minority Leader Jeffries. I give credit to them for sticking to the guns at this point. I don't know if I have faith enough in them that they'll stick it out past the month, past 2 months. I don't know if I have faith in them. I don't have faith in them moving forward. I think they need to be replaced with new, fresh people who understand how to dissent. They don't have the spirit to dissent. And I think they need to be replaced. That is my opinion. And I'm sticking with it. Especially Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer is from a different time where leadership meant something. There were lines you didn't cross. There were gentlemen who did handshakes across the room, across the aisle. That time is gone. That period is gone. Okay? There needs to be a turnover in the Democratic Party. The entire party, top down, needs a turnover where you got new, fresh ideas and people who understand who they're dealing with and how to deal with them. Because right now you got people who don't even know they're in a fight. They're just now finding out what kind of a fight they're in, you know. And before you get two black eyes, you should know what kind of fight you're in, you know, before you get those two black eyes, you know. So, and these folks, they don't get it, you know. They send out letters with strong language to people who use those letters to light their cigars, you know. Today, it was brought to my attention today that you had representatives ask on a talk show, hey, what do you plan to do to counter the lies that the government, that the Democrats just want to give health care to illegal immigrants? And these representatives didn't have any plan to counter the noise out there. The Republicans are out there right now. They started this before the shutdown and are out there right now on every network saying the Democrats only want to give health care to illegal immigrants. They want to shut it down just so they can give health care to illegal immigrants. Now that's going to infuriate the MAGA base. It's going to infuriate them. And they know it. There should have been a message from the Democrats out there long before that ever started coming out. There should have been commercials. There should have been a message, hey, this is what we want to do. This is why we're going to take on this fight. They should have been on every network. There should have been commercials in every region. There should be billboards going up. There should be a complete dissent campaign. And they have no idea how to run a dissent campaign. The party has no clue about how to run a dissent campaign. The Republicans are great at it. The Republicans, when Obama was in, the Republicans got together and blocked everything. We're blocking everything. Mitch McConnell got in front of a camera and looked into that camera and said, our number one job is to make sure he is a one-term president. Now, how does a political party stand in front of the camera and say his job is not to do for the American people? His job is not to work with this president to make sure the American people are taken care of and good things happen for them. No. His one priority, the number one job, this is all I'm going to do for 4 years and try and make sure this is a one-term guy. And not only did he get in front of the camera and say it, but he spent that entire 4 years trying to make it happen. They blocked everything that they could block. They blocked so much that he sponsored a bill himself. And when he found out Obama might sign that bill into law, he got up and snatched his own damn bill off the floor just to make sure Obama didn't get credit for it. That's what the Republicans will do in a dissent campaign. Democrats, no clue. No clue. So, there needs to be a turnover in the Democratic Party. I'm sorry to say that for those that like Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer and the like. But I think it just needs to turn over. And people with some ideas about who they're dealing with can come in. Because let's get one other thing straight before I get out of here. One other thing. For everybody listening, this that we're going through right now, this country, it's not going back to the way it was before this election. Okay? Let's get that out there right now. This country is not going back to the way it was before this election. There's going to be a lot of permanent changes, a lot of permanent stuff, a lot of rebuilding, recalculating, refixing, because these people are destroying all manner of processes, all manner of paperwork, all manner of program. Okay? So please don't get it in your head that once this guy is gone, now we can go back to the way it was. It's not going back to the way it was. It's not. So, heads up on that one. I don't know if that's what you were thinking, but heads up on that one. Anyway, I've did my time. I appreciate y'all for hanging out with me. If you have anything that you want to send me, this is the email to send it to. Mr. Morrison, I appreciate you hanging out with us this evening. Thank you and love your engagement. And to the rest of you, appreciate you. I'm getting out of here. And I'll be back Friday. So, you all be safe out there. And watch your backs. Okay? Watch your backs. Pay attention. And talk to people Talk to people. Okay? Get people to understand where we are today. So, on that note, see you Friday, same time. Take it easy.